Good evening, I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Tonight, growing pressure on the government to free Meng and potentially the two Michaels.
This is a decision that has to be taken at the highest level in Canada.
After Michael Kovrich's family spoke out, a chorus of high-profile Canadians are backing them, saying it is time to end the extradition proceedings.
I'm Andrew Chang. Also tonight, charges dropped against a First Nations chief following a violent arrest.
We are criminals by our skin color, and that has to stop.
Plus, a new revelation about one of the officers involved and still on active duty.
The night we'll never forget. Cheers.
Toronto reopens.
We're pretty excited.
The Atlantic provinces are bubbling and British Columbians can travel.
And I think this can be an exciting summer for all of us.
But are we doing enough to get a handle on Canada's COVID hotspots?
And surviving COVID at 103.
I happen to be one of the lucky ones.
The emotional return home. This is The National.
We begin tonight in Alberta, where charges have been dropped against Alan Adam. The Athabasca Chippewa chief was accused of resisting arrest.
But Adam's claims, bolstered by shocking dashcam video, turned the spotlight squarely on systemic racism within the RCMP. Rafi Boudjikanian spoke to Adam, who is now seeking change.
A silent celebration that said so much.
You know, we are not criminals by choice. We are criminals by our skin color, and that has to stop.
Crown prosecutors dropped the charges against Chief Alan Adam in a court teleconference that barely lasted half an hour this morning. But that wasn't until the whole country saw this RCMP dashcam video from March. In it, Adam and his wife are pulled over by the Mounties over an expired license plate. Adam tenses up as one officer approaches her.
When a police officer is there to tell you what is wrong with your license plate, he's not there to grab your wife and mistreat your wife.
Then, suddenly, a second officer leaps in. Adam's never seen laying a hand on either officer, but is put in a chokehold and punched in the face.
I think everyone who saw the video saw the real facts, that it wasn't the chief who assaulted anyone.
It was revealed today the officer who tackled the chief is facing assault and mischief charges himself from an unrelated incident months earlier. He's still on active duty, and an RCMP spokesperson was unable to explain why his previous charge was not made public.
We feel we're very transparent when we're releasing information when it regards a member that is charged with a criminal offense, and again, don't have an answer for you at this time.
Today, the Assembly of First Nations welcomed the Crown's decision but wants action.
I'm grateful that his nightmare has ended, but they shouldn't have been charged in the first place.
And Adam himself is calling for profound change.
If I had my way, in 5 years, the RCMP should be gone from all native reserves across the country, and we should have our own police force.
For now, Adam hopes an external police watchdog agency investigation delivers justice. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Fort McMurray.
In BC, the RCMP is facing another controversy, a wellness check on a woman in crisis that involved force. In a lawsuit, the woman claims it was excessive and abusive, while the officer claims it was necessary. All of it untested in court. But as Greg Rasmussen shows us, the video paints a stark picture.
At issue is whether this was legitimate use of force after a wellness check.
I did try to commit suicide, but I never made a threat on her life.
Mona Wang's civil lawsuit claims she was suffering from a panic attack when an RCMP officer entered her apartment.
I was so weak from hyperventilating and from everything that I just physically could not stand up. And then so she said that I was, disobeying her, not cooperating.
Later, Corporal Lacey Browning can be seen dragging Wang out of her apartment, down a hall, and into her building's lobby.
She just said, Mona, get up, stop being dramatic. And there was just no compassion, no empathy, and, she didn't try to de-escalate the situation.
In legal documents, the officer claimed Wang was armed with a box cutter knife and admits striking the plaintiff several times, but Wang claims she never posed a threat. The RCMP's legal response says the limited use of force by the defendant Browning was no more than was reasonable and necessary. Canada's top Mountie says the RCMP is responding to far more mental health calls, and it's often an issue of public safety.
When somebody's wielding a knife and they're suffering from a mental health crisis, that is not the time to bring in mental health practitioners. It's time for the RCMP to go in, get that person calm, get them to a place of safety, and get them the help they need.
I think there's always the time to bring in a mental health expert if police are trained in doing wellness checks, and in many instances they are not.
Wang, who is a nursing student, wants reform.
I don't believe that a police officer should go alone to a wellness check, not unless, they've experienced extensive training.
Issues raised in this case are now heading to court. Greg Rasmussen, CBC News, Vancouver.
To Canada's COVID-19 story, reopening was a dominant theme today in BC, Ontario, and Atlantic Canada. We'll look at each, but first, a snapshot of the country's active cases might help explain. So across Canada, that number stands at a little under 29,000, with Quebec accounting for 90%. British Columbia has 162 cases. New Brunswick has 16, but otherwise, Atlantic Canada has none. And Ontario has more than 2,000. Well, today, two huge population centres were allowed to open up and catch up to most of the rest of the province, Toronto and the Peel region just outside it. Ellen Morrow looks at how some happy people welcomed the news.
Some couldn't wait even a minute longer than they had to.
To a night we'll never forget.
This downtown Toronto bar opened just after midnight and filled up in no time.
It's a little bit weird to be around people, but it also feels normal.
Cold beer's delicious.
A version of normal anyway, after months of lockdown and financial uncertainty.
You go from 100 to 0, it's essentially catastrophic. We're lucky that we're in a position to reopen.
But it's not business as usual. Painstaking preparations for physical distancing, protective gear for staff on patios and in nail salons, also reopened today. Phones already ringing off the hook.
Getting out, how can I help you?
Toronto is one of the last places in Ontario to enter Phase 2. The city has nearly half of the provincial total of COVID-19 cases, but the numbers are on a downward trend.
I think this is a good condition for reopening to occur, but we still have to keep a close eye. The thing is that if we're not careful, we can start to see a spike in cases.
Windsor in southwestern Ontario will move into Phase 2 tomorrow, but some nearby towns will remain stuck in Phase 1 following deadly outbreaks among migrant farm workers.
If you see a migrant worker, matter of fact, maybe you should go up and say, thank you for working your back off.
Back near Toronto at a mall just reopened, some nerves.
I think it may be a bit early.
But also a feeling we have to start somewhere, says this doctor out shopping.
Every step you take in life is a risk. It's nice to see people coming back.
With the excitement of reopening also comes the ominous question, can we avoid a second wave? To do that, doctors say, people have to remember physical distancing, to wear a mask when that's not possible, and to have good hand hygiene. Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, as Ellen mentioned, the situation among migrant farm workers remains very serious, especially in the Leamington area, where COVID-19 is compounded by fear. Aaron Saltzman looks at new efforts to get things under control.
In sunny Leamington, Ontario, migrant workers are the engine powering the billion-dollar-a-year agriculture industry. They're also falling victim to COVID-19 in outsized numbers, nearly 500 cases and 3 deaths.
We're here to support the essential workers who come here every year to help put food on our tables.
Today, the Ontario government announced a 3-step approach to reduce the spread of the virus. Protection under the Employment Standards Act, the same as any other worker would get. New guidelines that would allow asymptomatic workers to stay on the job. And on-site testing. Of the 8,000 workers in the area, fewer than 10% have been tested for coronavirus. Farmers say many workers are afraid of government, of losing their jobs, of being sent home if they test positive.
Temporary foreign workers mostly come from countries where corruption is rampant. They already don't trust the government in their country.
I want to send a clear message to the temporary workers. No one will lose their job if you have COVID-19. No one will be sent home if you have COVID-19.
The Ford government is still passing the buck.
Critics say measures announced today do nothing to address the underlying causes of the outbreak. Migrant jobs that are excluded from certain safety standards, crowded living conditions with little or no chance for physical distancing.
There is no regulations. It's a wild west of the absence of protections for agricultural workers, specifically for migrant workers.
And testing a few more workers, he says, won't change that. Aaron Saltzman, CBC News, Toronto.
Meanwhile, BC is moving into its next phase of reopening. That means more opportunities for travel within the province with the reopening of hotels and resorts. Phase 3 will also see movie theaters and the province's film industry mobilize again. Recent projections show the province could safely increase social interactions without seeing a spike in COVID-19 cases. Atlantic Canada is launching a 4-province bubble. New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland and Labrador, and PEI will all open up to each other next week. Travelers welcome, no isolation necessary. But Kayla Hounsell shows us that COVID-19 confidence only goes so far.
That famous Peggy's Cove Lighthouse hasn't been getting the attention it's used to. Now, it might just get busier with the introduction of the Atlantic Bubble.
It'll help us for sure. It'll help increase the traffic for this summer and give us a better chance to increase our revenues.
The Atlantic provinces have been restricting travel to varying degrees, but as of next Friday, residents will be able to travel between the 4 provinces without self-isolating. The premiers insist they're only doing what their medical health officers agree is safe.
This whole idea of being forced into an Atlantic bubble is simply just not the case.
I think it's based on the science and data and facts that are before us.
The COVID trends in the Atlantic provinces are similar. New Brunswick is the only one with active cases. PEI hasn't had a new case in nearly 2 months, and for Newfoundland and Labrador, it's been 27 days. But the Atlantic provinces are already talking about bursting their bubble and welcoming the rest of the country in just a few weeks.
I am absolutely happy with the Atlantic bubble, but I think it's far too soon to open up to the rest of Canada.
Quebec and Ontario are, a little rougher than what we are.
Even an Atlantic bubble will bring families together, some for the first time. Wendy Thompson and 2-month-old Willow live in Nova Scotia, but their family is on Prince Edward Island.
And they haven't been able to meet the baby yet, so we're pretty excited to be able to get over there as soon as we can.
But some fear easing restrictions will bring COVID back. This pastor lives on PEI but has a Nova Scotia license plate. Prior to the bubble announcement, she says this note was left on her car by someone who assumed she was breaking the rules.
It said, go the bleep back to the mainland.
But for a region that relies on tourism, the rewards of increased travel may outweigh the risks. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Peggy's Cove, Nova Scotia.
Well, several Toronto Blue Jays players and staff have reportedly tested positive for coronavirus. It comes less than a week after their spring training complex in Florida was shut down after a player showed symptoms of the virus. Major League Baseball recently approved a 60-game season starting next month.
And 2 top golfers pulled out of the Travelers Championship in Connecticut after their caddies both tested positive for coronavirus. This is the 3rd event to be played since professional golf returned from its shutdown. Now we're getting our first clues about immunity to COVID-19. A recent study shows how long antibodies to the virus last in those who showed no symptoms or had mild symptoms. Christine Birak tells us what these findings could mean.
One key to unlocking this pandemic is figuring out whether patients who've already had the virus have lasting immunity. A new study suggests for a significant portion of those infected, immunity may diminish within months.
I think it's amazingly important as far as the information it provides.
Chinese researchers compared 37 asymptomatic people to 37 who had mild COVID-19 symptoms. Researchers found more than 90% of participants in both groups had only low levels of antibodies in their blood just 2 to 3 months after being infected. In 40% of asymptomatic cases, no antibodies could be detected after 8 weeks.
It starts to kind of give us some information about what the immune response looks like.
When a virus enters the body, our immune system creates antibodies to stick to it, so the virus can't enter our cells. Having few or no lasting antibodies doesn't necessarily mean the person can be reinfected right away. Other virus-killing cells might jump into action, but experts say it does cast doubt on antibody testing.
Until we know exactly what part of the immune system is protective, it's difficult to be able to do a test and tell someone you're safe or not.
In 1/3 of asymptomatic patients, the Chinese study also found lung damage that's been seen in COVID-19 patients. Experts say larger studies are certainly needed, but it's estimated at least 20% of those infected with this coronavirus are asymptomatic. If those patients do not have protective immunity, things will get tricky.
That means people can be infected, and that means we can't rely on herd immunity to protect the population. We really need the vaccine.
And it will have to offer people something the virus itself may not: strong, longer-lasting protection. Christine Burak, CBC News, Toronto.
The U.S. is seeing a steady increase in COVID cases, including in Florida, which saw the biggest single-day jump yet. More than 5,500 new cases. That's a 25% increase over the previous record set just last week. The number of cases has been climbing quickly since the state reopened its economy last month. Some cities have made face masks mandatory and are putting pressure on businesses that have not been enforcing physical distancing. Down south, a U.S. prosecutor testified today that fear of Donald Trump influenced the Justice Department's handling of the Roger Stone case. Salima Shivji shows us how political interference is coming under increased scrutiny.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
There is no point of order.
How do you know I've not said one?
A raucous committee. The key witness,
Mr. Zelensky will now testify.
a career Justice Department prosecutor calling out his own department, alleging an ally of Donald Trump's was given special treatment over pure politics.
He received breaks that are, in my experience, unheard of. This leniency was happening because of Stone's relationship to the president.
And the accusations kept coming that Attorney General William Barr is using the Justice Department to do the president's bidding.
William Barr poses the greatest threat in my lifetime to our rule of law. Barr has sought to give the president nearly unlimited powers.
That investigations were opened into industries that Barr and the president just don't like.
President Trump criticized the deal on Twitter. The day after the tweets, Antitrust Division political leadership instructed staff to initiate an investigation.
To the Democrats, the witnesses are brave whistleblowers. To the Republicans, it's all hearsay.
It's a shame we don't have a serious hearing. It's just a sideshow.
The allegations come the same day an appeals court dismissed the criminal case against another Trump ally, even though former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn twice pleaded guilty to lying to FBI agents. The ruling a win for Barr. It also cuts short any closer look at why the Justice Department decided to drop the charges against Flynn in the first place.
Thank you very much.
It doesn't matter to Trump. He wants to talk about it.
And do you think this is a mark of progress in the coronavirus?
I'm very happy about General Flynn. He was treated horribly. He was treated very, very horribly by a group of very bad people.
Questions over the Attorney General's conduct and the president's role aren't going away, and Barr will have to field plenty when he testifies before the same committee next month. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Washington.
Pressure is mounting tonight on Ottawa to intervene in Meng Wanzhou's extradition case. That pressure isn't just from China, it's from inside this country too, in the form of a letter signed by a string of prominent former politicians and diplomats. So that letter is addressed to Justin Trudeau, urging Canada to drop the case against the Huawei executive. The hope is that that will bring Canadians Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor home. They've been detained in China since just after Meng's arrest 560 days ago now. Over the past 2 days, we've heard from Kovrig's family, his wife, his sister, and father for the first time in all of this. And today, Beijing made clear they were listening to our interviews too. Sasha Petrusek takes us through it all.
There was a surprise for Michael Kovrig's family today. New letters from Kovrig himself. They're the first he's been allowed to send from a Beijing jail cell since March, asking them, including his wife, Vina Najibullah, what's happening in the world and if there is light at the end of the tunnel. They arrived just days after Najibullah appeared in a CBC interview with a message for China.
You are holding an innocent man.
Today, in response to the interview, there was no move to set them free, but Beijing noted that Najibullah asked Ottawa to consider letting Meng Wanzhou go. This is legal and also helpful to solve the issue of the two Canadians, said a spokesman. The legality of Ottawa intervening to free Meng was underlined in a letter signed by a group of 19 former Canadian politicians, diplomats, and others today, urging the government to step in and abort the extradition trial.
That was the main thrust, the main purpose of the letter, to bring it to the attention of the Minister of Justice and the Prime Minister. Mission accomplished.
By allowing this to drag on, Fortier and the others argue Canada's foreign policy is also being held hostage. Ending the Meng extradition process now, they say, might not only free Kovrig and Michael Spavor, but would untie Canada's hands at a time when the Canadian government must be fully free to take the tough steps needed to protect and advance our own interests.
No, we're not considering that. Canada has a strong and independent justice system.
Justin Trudeau has rejected that approach, and for good reason, says a former Canadian ambassador to Beijing.
The reality is that China is getting more aggressive, not less, and that it doubles down on any technique that it finds to have worked. And we can expect it to double down on hostage diplomacy if, in fact, we are seen to acquiesce.
Indeed, no matter what approach Ottawa takes with China in this debate, cooperative or confrontational, both sides agree there is no guarantee Beijing will let the two Michaels go. Sasha Petrusek, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, Michael Kovrig's wife, Vina Najibullah, was watching that Beijing briefing very closely. She told me she senses a shift in tone, slightly softer, less angry. And also, she got an update crucial to the family that for the first time, Chinese officials have committed to resuming consular visits for Michael Kovrig when the pandemic allows. He hasn't had one since January.
Well, across Canada, reopening is well underway, but for some restaurants, it just isn't coming fast enough. We take you behind the scenes as one restaurant struggles to adapt to the new normal.
10:20, we should have a big lineup out the door. Everyone should be gearing up for brunch.
Jerome Iginla was part of some of hockey's most memorable moments. As he becomes a Hall of Famer, we look at his remarkable legacy on and off the ice.
And the doctor is in. Dr. Smear Gupta will answer your coronavirus questions. We're back in 2 minutes.
Welcome back. Italy has come far since the COVID-19 pandemic broke out. Once Europe's hardest hit country, it has lifted lockdowns and reopened to European visitors. But as Megan Williams tells us, historic Venice sits virtually empty over fears of contagion.
Venetians at last have Venice to themselves. Once, the biggest challenge for locals was navigating the throngs of tourists. Now, says the souvenir vendor, opening for the first time since March, it's keeping his shop going. His father once sold water bus tickets just steps away, but he says he doubts his own kids will work here in the lagoon, and that's not just because of the coronavirus, but because it's just too expensive for Venetians to live here now. Across town, Francesco Penso enjoys a quiet paddle he could only dream of before the lockdown. We glide past his own house. Of the 10 units, he says, only 2 are occupied. The rest are holiday homes and Airbnbs. Each year, Venice loses 1,000 residents, mostly due to the soaring cost of housing. This city councillor says Venice has a plan, offering now empty Airbnbs to students and some 360 vacant apartments to young couples.
Wonderful to live in Venice, but it's very expensive, so we have to rent apartment by municipality at lower cost than the normal apartment.
But Venetians say this isn't a long-term solution. Aline Gendron raised her children here in one of the few remaining residential neighborhoods. She says the coronavirus has given Venetians the rare chance to see how their city could be.
I don't think that people coming here want really to see only restaurants for tourists or shops for little gadget of Venice. I think that they want to see a life place. Otherwise, it's just like an empty box.
For now, with coronavirus, empty of tourists as well. Megan Williams, CBC News, Venice.
75 years ago, Allied forces defeated the Nazi war machine in Europe. Today, Moscow celebrated that anniversary with a parade reminiscent of Russia's mighty Soviet past. Chris Brown looks at how Vladimir Putin is channeling history in a play to win permanent power.
It was a parade in the midst of a pandemic, with 14,000 Russian soldiers squeezed together, marching and saluting the 75th anniversary of Russia's victory over Nazi Germany. We will all do what we can so the memory of your heroic feats never fades, said President Vladimir Putin. The Kremlin made the veterans who came anywhere close to Putin quarantine for 2 weeks. 93-year-old Vladimir Kutz was imprisoned in a Nazi forced labor camp when he was just 14. This COVID is very contagious, he told our CBC producer. I saved myself to try to live until Victory Day. Despite the health risks, the Kremlin badly wanted this event for the veterans, but also to help Putin, whose popularity has taken a hit during the pandemic. A referendum that could set him up to rule Russia until he dies is just days away, and the spectacle may help tie him closer to past glories. Of late, the Kremlin has made a big push to portray the West as enabling the rise of Hitler, while minimizing Stalin's deal with Nazi Germany that saw the Soviets invade Eastern Europe, a narrative that sounds good to a lot of Russians.
We didn't attack anybody, we just defend.
Putin also commissioned a new cathedral outside of Moscow, dedicated to wartime victories. The iron in the floor is made from melted parts of Nazi machinery. Stalin's hat is there, so is Hitler's globe. And at a remarkable living museum nearby, there are even burning tanks and actors playing Russian heroes. Patriarch Stefan, the keeper of the giant church, said it's a message to future generations that Russia can't be defeated. The other message is that Vladimir Putin is the only person who can be trusted to preserve Russia's greatness. Chris Brown, CBC News, Vancouver.
Businesses across Canada have had to adapt in the midst of the pandemic, a challenge that can be overwhelming. Well, we check in with a family restaurant determined to succeed and how they managed to find a silver lining.
Also, just after the break, as we sometimes do, we'll take your COVID-19 questions, including this one. My asthma tends to flare up in the summer. Will this put me at greater risk for getting really sick with COVID-19? The answer has actually changed recently. We're back after this. Welcome back. Time once again for your COVID-19 questions, and we're going to get right to it with respirologist Dr. Samir Gupta. Hello to you, doctor. This first question I have a particular curiosity about because I actually have asthma as well. So here's the question. My asthma tends to flare up in the summer. Will this put me at greater risk for getting really sick with COVID-19?
Yeah, it's a great question. In fact, it's a question that a lot of my asthma patients are asking me right now. The reason it's a concern is that viral infections are a very typical trigger for asthma. So if you happen to get COVID-19 infection, you would have two problems in that your asthma would be flaring at the same time. But as it turns out, it hasn't really panned out that way. If we look at the data from series of patients admitted to hospital, we haven't actually seen a lot of asthma patients. And if anything, asthma is underrepresented compared to what we would have expected from the population. So far, we haven't seen that risk. I always tell my patients to stay on their regular controller puffers, keep that asthma under control, but it doesn't seem to be an increased risk so far.
And why would that be? I mean, are asthma sufferers being more careful so they're not getting I mean, what's the deal?
It's probably the way that the virus is interacting with the lungs. You know, asthma mainly affects the airways of the lungs. And it could be that this virus is possibly triggering an asthma attack, but that's not necessarily the mechanism by which the virus is making people sick. It's making people sick really by affecting other components, other parts of the lung. So people with chronic lung diseases, certainly we are seeing a higher risk, but not so much an airway disease like asthma, which often the lung function is preserved in many people.
Okay, I like this next question. As a music teacher, can I still sing as usual, or should I wear a mask?
Well, you can sing if you're doing your class by video conference. But seriously, in terms of singing, it's very interesting, but I would consider that a high-risk activity. We talk about a typical sort of 2-meter distance to prevent most droplet spread. but it might need to be further for singing. There was a case cluster reported very early in this pandemic of a bunch of people who had participated in a choir practice. And they were physically distanced, but a whole bunch of them got COVID-19. And the question arose as to whether particularly professional singers might be able to project those droplets further, or maybe even aerosolize those droplets, or get them into those micro droplets that can hang around in the air. So we don't have the answer to that, but overall I would consider singing to be a high-risk activity, and if possible, that person should wear a mask.
Okay, very good to know. Dr. Gupta, thanks so much for taking the time, as usual.
Thank you.
And hey, if you've got COVID-19 questions, I know you do, send them to us. We'll put them to the experts. You can message us directly on Instagram at CBC The National, or send us an email at covid@cbc.ca.
Across Canada, restaurants have been hit hard by the pandemic. That has forced some really difficult choices for small business owners, including those whose establishments enjoyed huge popularity pre-COVID. Nick Purdon looks at what it's been like at Toronto's family-run Maha's.
Hello, Mrs. Yeah, open at 8 a.m. till 4:15 is the last order, and then we close up at 4:30. So today is Monday, and it's 10:20 right now, and 10:20 we should have a big lineup out the door. Everyone should be gearing up for brunch, and we've had 2 orders so far.
Mark Waba almost can't believe how things have changed at Maha's, the Toronto restaurant he owns with his mom and his sister. COVID has hit them hard, and there's no getting away from it, especially since for them, Maha's isn't just a restaurant.
I live right behind the restaurant. My sister lives above the restaurant, so we're here every day, and if we're not here, we're thinking about here.
So how is the family keeping Maha's afloat when restaurants are closing? 1 in 5 have already shut down. Monica sees it all over the city.
Hearing the news about different restaurants shutting down was definitely really, truly heartbreaking. I can't imagine having to close our doors. Yeah, it's definitely scary.
The restaurant is called Maha's after Mom, Maha Barsoom. 6 years ago, she had the idea to open the place with her kids. And it worked, really worked. Maha's has been a huge success until the pandemic.
Things have changed drastically because, we are used to the very fast pace, and I'm used to making more than thousands of falafel pieces a day and just waiting to do one and then another hour waiting for another one. And it was hard for me to stand there and do nothing.
With almost no money coming in and complete uncertainty about the future, Maha considered the most drastic move. I mean, who wouldn't?
I actually said that to Monica and Mark, maybe we should close because everybody was extremely scared. Everybody was really worried. And they both said, no, we will not close. And they were actually tougher than me.
I'd come by and say 30 to 35 minutes.
Staying open meant making tough decisions. For example, Mark decided not to use delivery apps because of the surcharge. Instead, they made the nerve-wracking choice to only rely on their customers to come pick up their orders.
Oh my gosh, we're so grateful for our customers. They not only care about us as like an establishment, but also as a family. It's mutual, you get to know these people over 6 years, and you meet them when they're first like a couple, then they get married, then they have kids. So it's definitely like a family extension into the community. As
for Monica, after years of shadowing her mom, she took over the kitchen when they had to lay off most of their staff.
I can get you to serve the classes.
And that's when Maha realized that her kids were ready.
It's a good opportunity for me to let go and let the kids take over. And I discovered how great the kids can be on their own. And, some good things come out of bad things. I think this restaurant is Monica and Mark's future. And I thought of my kids when I was preparing this. And it's a little emotional, but...
Maha was able to find a silver lining in the pandemic. And that might be the reason, at least so far, they're making it through. Nick Purdon, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, the protests against anti-black racism and police brutality have captured the world's attention. But what about the impact on those most profoundly affected? Some insightful young voices are next.
And she's lived through 2 world wars, the Great Depression, and coronavirus. We'll meet Rose coming up. It's now been a month since George Floyd died at the hands and the knee of Minneapolis police. In the days that followed, an eruption of calls for justice and for an end to anti-black racism in the U.S. and here in Canada. After Floyd's death, Kids Help Phone says the percentage of distress calls it got related to racism and discrimination more than doubled. We spoke with some young black Canadians recently to see how they're processing all of this.
I am Peyton Tate and I am age 13. When I saw George Floyd was killed, I was upset, aggravated, and afraid.
My name is Nancy Okoro and I'm 13 years old. I think it was very shocking and saddening to see someone die by the authorities and people that are supposed to be protecting us when he wasn't resisting and they still went ahead to kill him.
My name is Josiah Messom and I am 13 years old. My reaction to George Floyd's death was, it was a mix between anger and sadness that things that go on today that should have ended a long time ago still happen.
When I see the protests, I feel kind of like a sense of joy, and I believe that the protesters are doing something great and that it's good that they're upset about what's going on. Because if they weren't upset, then nothing would ever change, and it'd just be a cycle repeating itself over and over again.
I was proud of the people that decided to take a chance and stand up for what they believe is right. And I respect the people that are in the protests, making their voice be heard.
It made me happy to see a lot of people uniting throughout the world of different color, showing their support of all lives matter and Black lives matter too.
When people see me, I want them to know that I'm Black and I'm here and I'm proud to be Black, and there's nothing wrong with me for being Black. I want them to know that just because I'm Black doesn't make me a criminal and doesn't mean I have ill intentions towards anybody just because of the color of their skin.
I want people to know that I am kind and I can be a friend and that I don't pose any threat to them in any way.
I want people to know that I'm a strong Black man. I am not scary or anything. I don't steal. I don't do anything bad. And stop judging me when you see me.
Just because you like a Black Lives Matter post doesn't mean you're part of the cause. It means that you like the post. There's other things that you can do that'd be much more helpful to fix the cause and, change the system altogether.
I feel like I don't have a voice, mostly because of my age and who I am as a person. So, but I know if I do try to do something, I could make a difference within my neighborhood.
People like us, people of color, they don't really get the same chances as my other friends do. They don't really get the same options. And it makes conversations harder for people that can't really understand what you're going through. If people see my skin color and assume stuff about me, just make judgments right away, I can't really change their mind.
A reminder that Kids Help Phone is always there to help. You can call them or text with them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Well, he is a Calgary Flames icon and a fan favorite on and off the ice. Now Jerome McGinley is a Hall of Famer, too. A look at the moments that made him great. Coming up. Welcome back. The Hockey Hall of Fame unveiled its class of 2020 inductees. Among them, Jarome Iginla, the Calgary Flames legend and Canadian hockey hero. Now, his induction may be not all that surprising, but as our Aaron Collins explains, in these times, it takes on a new meaning.
Honored member in the player category, Jarome Iginla.
This moment never really in question. Jarome Iginla, a first ballot Hall of Famer, a player with a hockey resume as golden as the goal he assisted on in the 2010 Olympics. It was arguably Iginla's biggest moment on ice, but there were many to choose from. 1,554 regular season games, 625 goals, a scoring title, and very nearly a Stanley Cup, falling just a disputed goal short in 2004. Teammates say Iginla was a leader on and off the ice, an important trait for one of the sport's few black superstars. His induction into the Hall of Fame, a symbol of inclusion.
And I know it means a lot to Jarome. And, you know, he'll be proud of that. And with everything that's going on in the world right now, I mean, it's even, I don't know, it feels like it's even more special right now.
Iginla's calm demeanor and decency as much a trademark as his ability to score goals, something that was apparent the first time this hockey broadcaster met him.
And I'm standing there with the rest of the media, and I'm nervous but excited. And Jarome Iginla probably reads that off my body language and puts out his hand to shake my hand and says, "Welcome," and everything good. And that gesture meant so much to me that I still remember it to this day.
Of course, in the end, Iginla will be remembered most for what he did on the ice, but the importance of who he is to many people of color isn't lost on him.
It is an honor in so many ways, but also I think that if there's other kids that other minorities, other black kids growing up and seeing that it's possible.
Jarome Iginla is just the fourth black player to be inducted into hockey's Hall of Fame. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.
And Iginla wasn't alone in being inducted into hockey's greatest hall today. Canadian women's star goaltender Kim St. Pierre also got the nod. She's from Quebec, a trailblazer in the game, best known for backstopping Team Canada to 3 Olympic golds and 5 World Championships. Former NHLers Marian Hossa, Kevin Lowe, and Doug Wilson rounded out the players voted in, with Edmonton Oilers general manager Ken Holland included in the builders category.
Well, coronavirus is particularly deadly for the elderly. We know that, but not 103-year-old Rose Weinstock.
I always said she was like the little tin ducks at the exhibition. You shoot and they come right back up.
So we will hear from one tough lady and her very relieved family up next. Rose Weinstock is 103 years old, a great-grandmother of 7, and now a survivor of COVID-19. So yesterday, out of the blue, her son Barry and his wife Marna got a call from the hospital. Rose was being discharged. Their reunion after a long separation was a huge relief, and of course, it's our moment.
We just got word that they were not just releasing her, they were sending her home. They were kicking her out.
Well, this family clearly enjoys a good laugh. That may start with its matriarch.
Ma, what was it like having COVID?
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
What's it like?
Of course, the disease was no joke, but her family was always optimistic.
I'll be honest, I'm not surprised. I always said she was like the little tin ducks at the exhibition. You shoot and they come right back up, and that's Mom.
Maybe she learned it early. Rose was 3 in 1920 when her father got sick during the Spanish flu.
Oh, he was near death, but my mother nursed him through.
So what is her secret?
I happen to be one of the lucky ones. If you think it's lucky.
She's the iron fist behind the velvet glove. She's strong.
Oh, she's tough.
Feisty.
Okay, you're not kidding. So here's another little story about Rose. May 29th, takes a bit of a tumble. The protocol is sends her to hospital. She has a bit of a cut on her head. The doctor wakes her up, worries about a brain bleed, says, Rose, how's your brain? She said, mine's fine. How's yours?
Yeah, well, no wonder she was a favorite at the hospital where she stayed. And apparently another quote of hers when she found out that she was that popular, I wish I wasn't so talented. That's The National for this June 24th. Have a good night.
Good night.